Hey, welcome back to the Zawadi Within. I just want to talk briefly about some lessons that I've been learning lately. And I don't know if you noticed, but I've rearranged a little bit about how I set up my videos. So I'll be posting one video a week and then daily shorts for encouragement. But let's get into this video. So some of the lessons that I've been learning is that it's important to be disciplined, but while I'm being disciplined, I also have to take time to see, is what I'm showing up for aligning with who I'm meant to be. Sometimes we get really focused on, like, we're disciplined, we need to do the work, and we should show up, we should put in the effort, because if we want to see something flourish, we have to take time to invest in it. But we also need to be careful and see, is this thing really worth it? And that's one thing I've been asking myself lately, or the different things that I'm doing, are they all really worth it? Is the result worth it? Is the person that I'm becoming worth it? And if the things that I'm doing don't bring out the best in me, then I've been taking time to reevaluate and see what my priorities are. And sometimes something can be good, but just because it's a good thing in general doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you or for me. And that's one thing I've really had to learn to just accept and say, something may be good, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for me or that I need to do it right now. If you're a really creative person or you're like really multi-talented, it's easy to want to go and maximize on everything you're good at, but sometimes we have to take a step back and say, okay, I like this, I like that, I'm good at this and that, but do I have to do them all right now? Like, is it really worth it at the end of the day? And that's one thing I've had to come to be at peace with, and know that everything that I'm meant to do, I will do at the right time. I don't always have to do it right now, because sometimes it's easy to feel like, okay, we're not promised tomorrow, so we need to maximize today. But we also have to realize that everything that's meant to happen will happen. And that's part of, like, letting go. That's one thing I've really had to learn, is just to surrender my plan to God and see what his plan is, and make sure my plan aligns with his plan for my life. And a lot of times when we really try to force something, there's probably a reason why there's resistance. Like, I'm not saying there should never be resistance when you're trying something new. Like, maybe you're trying to be disciplined with, like, your work ethic or exercise. Those are different examples. But if we're trying to, like, push and push and push continually, that may be a cause for us to reevaluate and see, is this really what we're meant to do? And just learn to accept the changes. Like, right now, my baby just started crying, and I'm not going to be stressed, because that means that it's time for this video to take a pause. Okay, so I'm back. My daughter, I'm just holding her right now. But like I was saying, just learning to be okay with the flow of things and not always having to force stuff. Because sometimes we force things, and we have to reevaluate ourselves and say, okay, if I'm forcing this so hard, is this thing really meant to be, or is it meant to be right now? Because I think sometimes the reason why we force things is because we allow our ego to get involved, and we're trying to force things because we want them done on our timeline, instead of realizing that if we let go of control, they will flow effortlessly, and they will be a lot more impactful if we're willing to be open to not pushing our own agenda. And it goes back to that mindset that everything that's meant for us will always be there. And that's one thing I've really had to remind myself. Everything that's meant for me will be there. It cannot be taken away. And it doesn't matter if the timeline is a little different, but if I surrender and allow God to take over, everything that he's put in my heart to fulfill will be fulfilled regardless of what happens. Also, another thing I've learned is just to remember not to take myself so seriously. And as someone who takes most of what she does seriously, that has been a challenge, because I do respect myself, and taking ourselves seriously is part of respecting ourselves, but also realizing that what I do does not define who I am. Like, I'm blessed to be able to do what I love to do, to run my business, to also be with my children, and also like be a stay-at-home wife, also included with all of that. But at the end of the day, what I do does not define who I am. There are parts of me that I'm blessed to be able to express, but at the end of the day, they do not define me in the sense like my identity is not wrapped up in them. I am valuable and I am worthy of love and respect simply because I am. And I wish more of us would realize that we are valuable simply because we exist, not necessarily because of the titles we have attached to us or the accomplishments that we make. We are valuable because we are human, because we exist on this earth, because we are created in God's image, period. And I hope that you will learn to believe that too about yourself if you're unsure, and just realize that who you are is is directly related. How do I say this again? Who you are is not dependent on your titles or your accolades or accomplishments. Who you are is dependent on the fact that you are created in God's image, that He loves you, that He created you for a purpose. You exist, and that is good enough, period. So I hope you'll remember that. Remember that you are valuable, that you are loved, and that you are worthy. And those are just a few lessons that I've been learning lately, and I thought I'd share them with you. I hope some of them resonated with you, and if they did, please comment below, and I wish you all a wonderful evening. Be blessed and be loved. Bye.